All right, everyone, we're back, and I'm really excited right now. I have a gentleman who I consider a brother. He and I go way back, coached together. Once we coached together, found out, we our paths crossed before that. Um, he's even a graduate of William Patterson, yet now went to King. So, so
Right off the
there's some
bat.
rivals there. Yeah. So, um, ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome to the show Coach Juan DePena. Coach, how you doing today?
Coach Gladney, man, it's an absolute honor to be here with you, man. I'm looking forward to this. When you reached out to me, uh, I was quick to say yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've been looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to this, and let's have a good time with it, man.
All right, I appreciate you, man, for doing this and being here with us. So, and I know the audience will fall in love with you. So, but let's dive into this right now. How long have you been involved in sports at any capacity, player, coach, in management capacity?
Man, you want to go all the way back?
Hey, hey, some.
Man, I started playing baseball, surprisingly enough. That was my very first
Mm-hmm.
sport. And I played
Mm-hmm.
with the Mighty Warriors in the Bronx Baseball League sometime
Mm.
back like in the 1980s.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
didn't play football until I got to high school because I was always too big. Back then they had the weight limits.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I went to a perennial power back in those days. Now not so much. North Bergen High School in Hudson County.
Mm-hmm.
I played there for 4 years. Then I went to William Patterson. I played there. I was recruited as an offensive lineman. Realized quickly that they needed some defensive line help. Moved me over to the defensive line. Um, Played there, and then by chance, in 1997, I'm kind of dating myself here. Um, Ran into an individual to this day. I don't remember who it was, but I was at a bus stop, and he goes, "Hey man, you play football?" I'm like, "I did. I just graduated college." And he gave me a business card for the New Jersey Giants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And ever since 1997, somehow or somewhere, I've been involved in minor league football as a player, coach, uh, front office person for teams. Even one year, had a great opportunity of being an administrator with the Major League Football run by Dexter
Mm-hmm.
Gervin. And
Mm-hmm.
now I'm
Mm-hmm.
in my current situation where I'm the general manager and defense coordinator for the Garden State Herd.
Oh, okay. All right. Definitely, you definitely are well versed in the game, so I can definitely respect that. You said you started actually in baseball. Who got you started playing baseball?
Being Dominican is like a rite of passage. We it's
Uh-huh.
it's 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 ingrained in our blood, man. I was able to turn
Mm-hmm.
two before I was able to walk. And my dad was a big influence in that. He was a big
Mm-hmm.
baseball fan. My grandfather was a big baseball fan. And it's just what Dominican kids in the Bronx did, man. We played baseball. And
Mm-hmm.
I stopped playing baseball almost in high school. And because I had to make a decision, either baseball or football. I saw
Mm-hmm.
I had a brighter future in football, coming from immigrant parents. Um, Football was going to be able to get me into school, pay for my education, and academics was always big for my dad. So, and my
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
mom. I don't want to just leave her out.
Mm-hmm.
But for
Mm-hmm.
both my parents, education was huge, and it's something that I instill in my children today.
Do you feel that you were better at baseball than football, or ultimately it was just football because of your size?
Um, Here's what it was with baseball, man. I was a catcher and a third baseman. I had a strong arm.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm gonna date you back a little bit. My idol growing up was Benito Santiago.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Benny Santiago from the
Mm-hmm.
Padres. He was a catcher. He was a guy who was known for throwing people out
Mm-hmm.
from his
Mm-hmm.
knees, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to emulate my game to him. As far as the hitter was concerned, I was either striking out or I was crushing it. There was no in between. You know what I'm saying to you? So if you gave me a fastball along the way, I'm sending it for a ride. You gave me a curveball or a slider, I'm walking back to the dugout. So uh, uh, football was just a thing that I was coached at North Bergen. I tried out for the football team as a
Mm-hmm.
freshman. Had the absolute privilege of being coached by one of the greatest coaches in New Jersey football history, Vincent Ascalise,
Mm-hmm.
rest in peace. And he told me, son, you've got a lot of size, you've got athletic ability. If you do everything I tell you, this is my freshman year. If you do everything I tell you, I promise you that you will be playing college football. I thought he was out of his mind, but I listened to what he told me, and his prophecy came true.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's a good thing. I'm glad that he spoke to you in that regard because
Yeah,
you definitely are one of the sitting around well versed at playing and most intelligent people in terms of the game of football. So now, when most
thank you.
people think of the word, you're welcome. Now, when most people think of the word competition, they think of it as winning and losing. But I see competition being more than that. Now, when you hear the word competition, what do you think of?
A blessing. Being able to
What?
compete, being able to
Mm-hmm.
compete, and being able to physically compete, regardless of the outcome, is a blessing. Some people don't have the um, mental capacity, the mental fortitude, the
Mm-hmm.
physical capacity to
Mm-hmm.
be able to compete. And luckily for me, I'm 46 years old, and I'm still able to compete on the football field and off the football field and some of my other endeavors. And it's a gift of God that I'm able to do so. A lot of people, when they think about competition, all they want to do is win, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can get better without winning. And
Mm-hmm.
by competing, you constantly push your levels of what you're physically and mentally capable of doing. um,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
and that's one of the things I love about competition, is the fact that you're constantly testing yourself against other people, and you're constantly testing yourself against yourself. Can I become a better version of who I was the day before?
Well, you're so right because so many athletes, like you, like me, enjoy competition from the game of sports. So, and it does so much for them, like you said, on the field, it tests them, but it also does things for them off the field, which, in life, there's always competition. So,
Yeah.
and it prepares you. So, what do you think competition has done for you in your life and also, when you were a player, coach, manager, what do you think it's done for you overall?
um it's allowed me to push myself. you know
Mm-hmm.
um it's allowed me to push myself to try to get the most out of my ability.
Mm-hmm.
Wasted talent and wasted potential is one of the worst things a person can ever have. Um, so for me, competition just, it made me a better person. It made me strive to be better as a father, as a husband, as a mentor, as a coach, in my job. Um, you're constantly pushing to make yourself better because you can't be stagnant. And I
Mm-hmm.
realized that a lot of people are real happy being comfortable, um,
Mm-hmm.
and not progressing as long as they're comfortable. Some people don't like that uncomfortableness of becoming a
Mm-hmm.
better version of yourself. It's like playing a video game on easy. You
Mm.
play the video game, you
Mm.
play the video game on easy, and you're gonna win and you're gonna play it, but eventually at some point it becomes boring. It becomes not a
Yes.
challenge anymore. It becomes mindless. So if you're not constantly pushing yourself, as again, a lot of the stuff that I talk about, and I talked about to my players, and I talked about to my squad, it's about making yourself better and getting into those uncomfortable situations and having uncomfortable conversations with yourself to make yourself a better person, because you can go the easy route and you're going to
Mm-hmm.
get easy results. No one wants the easy results. Champions aren't made the easy way. Every
Mm-hmm.
champion has had his ups and every champion has had his downs. If you look through history, think about all the great champions: Michael Jordan, Muhammad
Mm-hmm.
Ali, Vince
Mm-hmm.
Lombardi, Bill
Mm-hmm.
Belichick. All those great champions have all had some adversity, and that adversity is what made them who they were. And they wouldn't get that if they stuck to the easy road.
You said something just now, well, a couple of minutes ago, that I think a lot of the younger generation can relate to because you said it's like playing a video game on easy, and you'll find some players who, they want to play it on easy, but most they don't. They get into it and they want to really push themselves, and I think that right there can touch some of the audience. So great point, great point. And I hope some of you in the audience are really listening to that point and really think about it, because it's so true, in life, and through competition, we as athletes, former athletes, coaches, we understand that. And like you say, you talk to your squad, your players. In my life, same thing. My children, I've always told them, the real world will chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready for it, and that's competition. So I
Yeah, man.
love
I
that
mean,
point, man.
I'll give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. I
Mm-hmm.
have, you know me. I have my
Mm-hmm.
son. I have a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of god kids, but I had two god kids who were real, real tight to me. One of them is a soccer player now at Kane, and the
Cool.
other one went to Bryant to play football. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
they would all come to my house and we would play Madden. Now I'm talking about they were 8, 9, 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And back in those days, I was real good on the sticks, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd put down to play with them, right? And because I was
Mm-hmm.
using football logic, right? So I would beat the
Mm-hmm.
brakes off of them, just beat the brakes off of them.
Exactly.
70 to nothing, right? So my wife goes to me and she goes, "Why do you do that to them? Let them win." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"No, I'm not going to
Mm-hmm.
let them win. They're going to have to earn it." So then
Mm-hmm.
eventually they start getting older, 10, 11, 12,
Mm-hmm.
13, 14. And then now they're having competitive games with me. And you see them
Mm-hmm.
getting ratcheted up until finally one day they beat me. Legitimately beat
Mm-hmm.
me. They jumped up and down, tossed my couches, spilled drinks on my floor. I turn back and go to my wife. I'm like, after they leave my house, I'm like, "You saw that noise that those boys made by beating me in a simple video game?" She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "If I would have let them win a long time ago, they would have
Mm-hmm.
never experienced this now."
Exactly.
And to this day, now I'm talking about my god kids. One's 25, lives on his own, does his own thing. The other one is 20, just turned 21. They still talk about that time when they were 13 and 14 and beat me in Madden. And those are the
Mm-hmm.
memories that they'll never forget because they realize how many times they just got spanked before
Mm-hmm.
they finally were able to crack that code and be able to beat Padrino.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lesson. And you know what? There's one thing I could say to that. Remember the Brooklyn Seminoles? Do you remember what their statement always was?
Yeah.
If they can't play, blow them out.
Yep.
But guess what that does? There, I know, I understand, bro. You don't have to say I got the look. I got the look. But the point being is, it pushes you to try and say, I gotta beat them. I gotta beat them.
Yeah.
Remember us when we competed against the number one team in the country?
Yeah.
The Central Penn Pyramids. Same exact thing. Paulie used to push us, man. He used to push us.
Yeah,
So
man. And you're bringing up the Mariners, right? So
yeah.
I'm coaching with the New Jersey Lions. I don't remember if you were on the staff at that point. Coaching against with the New Jersey Lions, and we go to Brooklyn,
Mm-hmm.
go to Pudgy, great Pudgy Walsh, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm. God rest his
And
soul.
after years of playing with the New Jersey Giants and all these teams, and the Brooklyn Seminoles winning 10 league championships in a row, we go to Brooklyn and we finally beat the
I
Mariners.
was there. I was there.
Yeah, on their
Mm-hmm.
home field.
Mm-hmm.
And Pudgy Walsh came to us as we
Mm-hmm.
got together as a team, and he said, "You guys have one hell of a program there.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to be
Exactly.
something special." And I remember driving home that night with tears because
Mm-hmm.
I remember just the days of getting our butts kicked. And now
Mm-hmm.
finally,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
got one against a legendary coach. And you can't, it's, to this day, one of my
Mm-hmm.
coaching highlights.
Exactly. It definitely is. And you know, people don't understand that, and that's the beauty of competing and being in the sports world. So
Yeah.
now, who has been your biggest influence in sports, whether they're a player, coach, friend, whatever?
Wow. I mean, I can't, I'd be remiss to say if I don't bring up my grandfather and my dad, first and
Okay.
foremost. Neither one of them were coaches. Um, I don't remember seeing my dad play other than family softball games or whatever. But what he did teach me was whatever you do in life, uh, put your all into it. See it
Mm.
through. Don't quit. If
Mm-hmm.
you start it, finish it. And he was one of my best supporters. He would come to the games dressed in red, when my high school games dressed in red, and he knew that he cheered whenever he saw everybody else in red cheer. He cheered. He knew nothing about football, and he said every time he would see me flying like a missile into a pile somewhere, him and my mom, their hearts would stop for a second until they saw me come up on the other side and walk back to the huddle. And my grandfather, gave me a love for baseball, and um,
Mhm.
just he was a guy who woke up every morning and put on a shirt and tie, even if he wasn't doing anything, even retired, and he was just going to go about business as usual. He'd be in a shirt and
Mhm.
tie. So he taught me about how to present yourself as a man. Um, Going into sports, I spoke about him before. Vincent Astley's head coach at North
Mhm.
Bergen High School.
Mhm. Mhm.
Tough dude, real
Mhm.
tough dude. Would get in your face, but loved you to death. You know, um,
Mhm.
I'll tell you a story about him. In 1994, I graduated high school.
Mhm.
Last year, I was with them. A little bit after that, I moved out of town, moved to another town. 5 years later, my father passes away. Hadn't talked to coach in about 2 or 3 years.
Mhm.
And my father passes away. We have his funeral services up in Washington Heights. And
Mhm.
along all the flower arrangements that was there was a big red flower arrangement with a big yellow NB
Mhm.
from North Bergen.
Mhm.
I call him up and I say, "Hey, thank you, coach. I really appreciate that. But how did you know my father passed away?" He goes, "Just because you left me doesn't mean I left you. I
Mm.
always keep an
Wow.
eye on my guys." And I was forever grateful when he passed away. I was part of his escort and I did that voluntarily. I was offered to be, paid overtime for it. And I said, no, this one's on me. That's something I need to do. Um, and then as far as you, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You are one. I've called you my mentor many a times.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
had the privilege of coaching under you as a defensive line coach, and you were a defensive coordinator. And from you, I learned a lot of attention to detail
Mhm.
when
Mhm.
it comes to game planning, being able
Mhm.
to see a specific team and be able to mold what you want to do defensively around your personnel, and then being able to scheme that to whoever your opponent is. And the most
Mhm.
valuable lesson I ever learned from you was communicating with your players. You weren't a yeller and a screamer. Unfortunately, I am a yeller and a screamer. That's because I'm an animated person. You weren't a yeller and a screamer, but you communicated with your guys, and your guys knew that um, Coach Gladney always had their back. Coach Gladney loved them on the field and off the field, and that's something that to this day I carry with my guys. My guys know they can call me at 3 o'clock in the morning if they just need to talk, and that's something that I learned from you, and I'm forever grateful for you for that, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. I really appreciate that, man. I'm glad that you got that lesson. So thank you so much. So now, well, you kind of hit me on my next question. What type of coach do you feel you are? Like, if you're a disciplinarian, players coach, a tactician.
Um, First and foremost, anybody who's met me knows I don't change my persona. I'm the
Mm-hmm.
same way I am in real life as a football field. So I'm just me. And who I am is a person. I'm obsessed with the game. I watch I watch high school football from Texas if it's on TV,
Mm-hmm.
because if I watch for 3 hours and I find something there that I can use for myself, I'll use it. I watch a ton of film. The running joke with the herd was no one's going to outwatch Coach Juan when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
film. I watch a ton of
Mm-hmm.
film. Um, as far as how I treat my players, uh, I'm a loving coach. I'm a real loving coach. I don't believe in um, being overly expressive when they do well. I'm overly expressive when they do extraordinary. But when you do your job, I'll give you a hey, good job, and we keep it pushing. We still got things to do. When you mess up, I'm not gonna come down on you. I don't curse at my players like, hey, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? You stupid. No, that's negative. However, I will be like, hey, this is what you did wrong. This is how we're gonna fix it, and this is how we're gonna go about it. As far as the disciplinarian is concerned, I have a way of demanding from my players. Um, when we're at practice, there's a time during practice where we can goof off or mess around, and I'm one of the biggest jokers. I will roast my players doing stretches. Coach, you know, coach, I will roast
Yeah.
my players doing
Yes, yes.
stretches. In our team chats, I'll roast them all day. But when we're doing install and we're going over team period, I ask them, hey, I need 40 minutes of total concentration from you guys. And my team this year was really, really good at that. I credit to them. I got a bunch of guys that no one's ever heard of, talented ball players, talented athletes. And I asked them to do a lot of complicated things, and they succeeded with it to a very high level. Um, so in a nutshell, that's the kind of I'm not a I curse by nature. You know, that's just who
Hmm.
I am. I curse by nature,
Hmm.
but I don't curse at people.
Got you. Got you. Got you. So you mentioned that you played youth baseball, high school football, and you played, minor league, semi-pro. You ever make it or get an NFL tryout or anything like that, or Canada arena football?
No, no, no. It's right after high school, went to college right to minor league. Um, I was always, I'm a big guy in I'm a big guy in normal people sizes. You know what I'm saying to you? I'm 6'1",
Mm-hmm.
290 pounds. I'm a big guy for average human beings. As
Mm-hmm.
far as
Mm-hmm.
defensive tackles are concerned, not so much. So, and it's something I didn't really pursue. I'm not gonna lie to
Got
you.
you.
I
Mm-hmm.
kind of wanted to. I was honest with myself. I wasn't gonna be that guy. So I'm more concerned about getting myself acclimated with my career, and
Mm-hmm.
by luck of chance, I met my wife, and we've been together now 24 years.
Ooh, that's a blessing right there. Congratulations, man.
It is. It
Because most
is.
people don't make it that far. So, now you said that you switched over from offensive line to defensive line in college. Your freshman year, you were mainly an offensive line, or did you switch over during your freshman year?
Well, during high school, we played both offensive and
Yeah.
defensive lines.
Mm-hmm.
You went both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was recruited to William Patterson, I was recruited as a guard center.
Mm-hmm.
Was there, excuse me, I was
Go for it.
there right during camp. We were kind of down low a little bit on defensive linemen, and
Mm-hmm.
they switched me over.
Got you.
And
Got you.
I've been there ever since, the rest of college and all through my
Mm-hmm.
minor league career. I did play some offensive line in my minor league career, but that's when we had pretty much, it was either going to be me playing offensive line or our third string wide receiver. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how
Mm-hmm.
minor league football is. But everywhere else I've gone, I've always been a defensive tackle. Believe it or not, most of the time I was a one tech.
Okay. Okay. I always thought you were a three tech, so I didn't realize that
No,
you were mainly a one tech. Okay.
I was
Okay.
a one tech. Yeah.
Do you feel now between the center offensive guard and the defensive line? What do you feel is your better position? Is it the D line or is it really the offensive line?
Uh, uh, I'm a defensive guy by heart.
Gotcha.
I've
Okay.
it's the mentality. And there's an analogy that I use with my head coach with the Garden State Herd, Wayne Dabney. Offense is smooth jazz. It's rhythmic. Everything's
Mm,
got to work kind of in sync. It's like
mm-hmm.
beautiful music.
Mm-hmm.
And defense is like hardcore heavy metal uh, rock. It's
Mm-hmm.
chaos. We're coming from different angles. We're playing with aggression, and that kind of tends towards more towards my personality. I can be calm when I need to be, but I'm usually a very hyper, energetic,
Mm-hmm.
outgoing type of person,
Mm-hmm.
and that
Mm-hmm.
defense always lended to being where I kind of fit in more. And plus, that's
Okay.
where they put all the plus that's where they put all the misfits, anyways.
Yeah, all the pretty boys and guys go over to the offense, and the real, grunts of it, in a sense, comes over to defense. I
You
got you.
you you already know, coach. You already know
Mm.
how it is.
All right, now, what accomplishments did you achieve playing and coaching? It doesn't matter. Varsity letters, championships, whatever.
Um, High school state championship, with North Bergen High
Mm-hmm.
School.
Mm-hmm.
College, we were terrible. Minor league football on a team level, believe it or not, I've been to a few league championship games. Never won the championship. 25 years, and that's something that kind of drives me and it eats at me. It to me, that's the cherry on top of my career. Um, it for me, it defines me as a coach. It defines my minor league career. Um, and some people tell me, listen, you've had a great career. You've had a great job. You've done everywhere you've gone. You've won football games. You've never been on bad teams. But for me to be mentioned with some of the greats in minor league football and as a player or even as a coach, more importantly to me, because I'm really, really have fallen into the coaching aspect of it. I played for 10 years. And now I'm heading into my 15th year next season. I've spent more time coaching at this level than I did playing, and for me to be put in with those greats, I got to have at least one championship. So that's one of the things. As far as individually, I've been named to a ton of all-star teams,
Mhm. Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I have a distinction that's a low-key flex, but it's a flex. I'm
Mhm.
one of the only people I've ever met in minor league football that had their jersey retired. That's my 55 back there. It was
Mhm.
a great honor for me. Um, that season, my last season with the Lions, I was a team MVP as a one tech nose tackle.
Mhm.
Um, how often does that happen? Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, Retired from the Lions. They're like, hey, we want you to come back and be a D line coach. The very next year, it's up here somewhere. Um, I won the assistant coach of the year for the team as well. And a lot of accolades. Hey, he's one of the bright minds in the game, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't I don't take that. Uh, I think sometimes I'm really spoken more highly of myself than I should be.
Mhm.
I consider myself just a guy who likes to coach football and try to
Mhm.
change people's lives a little bit through football.
I relate to that very well, so I know where you're coming from. So yeah, definitely. Now, through sports, I think we touched on this, but no, yeah, we did touch on that. Important lessons through sports. Yeah, I think we did
Mhm.
touch on that earlier. Now, do you feel that you've had positive contributions from sports to your personal life?
Um, I think sports has been my conduit to
Mm-hmm.
be able to touch people. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, be able to speak with people who I would never be in a position to speak to. One of the things that I tell my players every single year when they come into the very first day of camp is I won't promise you that we're going to win a bunch of football games. I won't promise you that we're going to win a championship. Those are things I can't promise. I don't make promises that I can't keep. Um, I will promise you that we will do everything that we can to win football games and win championships. But if there's one thing that I can promise you is by the time this season is over, I will make you a better person than you were before because I'm going to try to teach you the right way to do things. And I'm going to try to teach you that whatever way you thought was the right way may be the right way, but there's another way.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I've seen some of my former players get married and have families of their own. Like we've had some of those guys as well. I've seen some of
Mm-hmm.
these guys go from knuckleheads that came into our
mm-hmm.
programs and now
Mm-hmm.
they've got successful careers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. But again, all different types of things, and sports to me, that's my way of giving back because when I was coming up, there was a lot of people who took me under their wing and kind of said, "Hey, Juan, I got you. I'm gonna show you the ropes. Be it a coach, be it a former teammate, be it whoever." Some of those guys put me under their wing, and now this is my way to kind of, now that I've got my wings open and I can now fly on my own, for me to get some other people under my wing and kind of teach them, like the old saying does, each one teach one.
Mm-hmm.
Take it
Mm-hmm.
takes a village. I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing my part to do that in regards to the next generation, the generation behind us, and the way I do it is through football.
Well, see, that's a great point. And that leads right to the next one. I mean, with your former players, I mean, you were talking about some of them were knuckleheads, and and you've seen them with family. But initially, how receptive do you feel that they were to your teachings, to your coaching methodology?
Um, I think they were very receptive because they knew it was coming from a good place. I was a genuine person. Um, uh, let's be honest. Some people can tell BS. Football
Mm-hmm.
players can tell when a coach doesn't know what he's doing, or when a coach is
Mm-hmm.
not real, or when a coach is putting on an act. And I've always been authentic. I pride myself being an authentic person. Juan DePena, Sergeant DePena, Coach DePena, we're all the same guy. We're just doing
Mm-hmm.
different things. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, I've been blessed that my guys are real receptive to what I do and how I do it
Mm-hmm.
because of it.
Okay. Now, you've coached a lot of plenty of players over your 15 or 14-year, going on 15-year career. And some players leave. We all know that players leave teams, jump around, whatever the case may be. But they've taken a lot of the lessons you've taught them and instilled in them, and they put it into their lives, and they utilize it. Some of them are even getting into coaching and using some of the philosophies that they are taught. When they use things that you've taught them into their lives or into their coaching careers, how does that make you feel personally?
um, like a proud dad,
Mm-hmm.
you teach your kids right from wrong, and you
Mm-hmm.
see, you've got some beautiful daughters, and you see them kind of
Mm-hmm.
um, growing and maturing, and you kind of sit back and you're like, wow, I
Mm-hmm.
remember when, and now
Mm-hmm.
look at them, and you've got that same feeling, that same
Mm-hmm.
feeling of, and then the other part of that is that the you kind of feel a sense of, I'm glad I took time from me to give to this person because I know something that I taught them or something that, even if it was just showing them genuine, unconditional love,
Mm-hmm.
gave them that positive reinforcement to do what they were doing.
It's beautiful, man. That's powerful, really. So I like that. Have you ever had any players come back to you and express gratitude for the lessons that you've taught them, that you've instilled in them?
You know, I've had a lot of guys. Um, I've had a lot of guys who still call me coach. Um, Guys from other teams who have had just interactions with them.
Mm-hmm.
And just from our interactions, I've garnered their respect enough for them to call me coach. They'll
Mm-hmm.
never call me Juan. Even when they're joking, it'll be coach. I've had several players tell me, you're one of the best coaches I've ever played for. I will follow you through, depths of hell, because I know you're going to have my best interests at heart. Um, and I've had, oh wow, I'm trying to think now, at least six, maybe seven players who have gone into law enforcement
Hmm.
after their time with me, and I think I've written letters of recommendation for almost all of them, and they've all thanked me because they said, I saw how you conducted yourself as a police officer, and I knew that this is kind of the calling that I wanted to do, and you led me in that right direction, and I kind of want to do what you were doing, and
Hmm.
it meant a lot to me.
Oh, okay. Didn't even know that. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you for sharing that, man. Now, for the audience, can you give an example of a challenging situation that you've encountered? Doesn't matter sports or in life, but because of sports, you've been able to battle through and not allow it to negatively affect you. Because I know you're probably one of the most positive people I've ever met. So probably have a doozy for us. Come on.
I do actually. Couple years ago,
Mm-hmm.
back in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
um, I know. Have you ever Detective Joe Seals, Jersey City Police Department? There was a shooting in Jersey City. Officer
Hmm.
was killed. I was there that day. Joe Seals was a friend of mine. He was a academy mate of mine. I saw him maybe 3 days before that. And when everything was going down, I was one of the, my me and my team, my SWAT team, were one of the first units to arrive there. And we were kind of in the mix of everything, gunfire going everywhere, bullets flying over our head, whatnot. After it was all said and done, you start getting that survivor's guilt, right? And because of it, I kind of fell into a real deep depression. Um,
Hmm.
Kind of let myself go, let my weight go, didn't work out as much as I used to, became sheltered, um, just not myself. I tried to stay positive, but after a while, it became kind of an act, and my depression hit really, really bad. I mean, really bad, um, to the point where I had to go and seek therapy and stuff like that. Um, and the one thing that to resonate to what the question was,
Hmm.
um, I just kept thinking about prize fighters, Arturo Gotti, for an example. Gotti would sit there and just take a hellacious beating,
Hmm.
just getting punched on and just getting hit and getting knocked down. But what made him such a great champion was the fact that you had to kill him in the ring for him to say, I'm gonna quit.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I've been in so many games where, we're down 2 touchdowns with 3 minutes to go in the game, or, we're going into the game and the team is so much better than us. So I had to kind of dig deep inside me and find that competitive spirit, like I said before, make myself better. I can't continue letting myself get down like this. I've got to get myself better. I've got to compete with making myself better every single day. And I don't know if non-athletes could relate to that, because
Hmm.
how often are people put into that kind of a situation, um, on a regular basis where you're constantly having to fight up? And some people, again, there are a lot of people out there who have had tough lives, um, so they've had to do that. But when you have sports that if hey, if you don't win the game, life goes on,
Hmm.
right? But you're kind of getting that training almost for when real life hits. Oh, I've been in adversity before. I've been in bad situations before. I didn't freak out. I didn't panic. I didn't do whatever. I kind of, maybe took my hits, but I kind of came back from it. And, now, a couple years later, I'm back to being the person that I am. Still have my moments, where I go into deep thought and I think about, um, some of the bad moments in my life, but I realize that those bad moments made me a stronger version of myself.
Well, first of all, thank you for everything that you do for the community, man. I really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing that story with me and the audience. I know someone out there is going to take something from that and use that in their lives, and that's what's most important right now.
Yeah.
So thank you for that, man. So now,
And if I could touch on that real quick,
go ahead.
um, I know a lot of guys out there. We have that stigma that we're men,
Mm-hmm.
we're tough, we can
Mm-hmm.
handle anything. Um, we're salt. Listen, man, let that go. We're human beings. We all go through our situations. If you ever um, feel down, reach out to someone. Even if it's not a friend, there's a bunch of services out there that you can call. When I started therapy, I was worried about the stigma of, is something wrong with my brain? Am I
Mm-hmm.
crazy? Am I
Mm-hmm.
emotionally weak? And the best thing I ever did was decide to say, hey, you know what, man, I'm just gonna go into this and be open minded about it. And it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. So I implore people who are going through it emotionally, um, just it's okay to go through it emotionally, but understand that there's resources out there to help you, and they really do help.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls listening, Please, please, definitely. Your mental health is paramount nowadays, and we now are learning how important it is, to helping you be, the person that that you can be, and that you are. So, I agree with you 1 billion% with that. So, um, getting back to the sports part of this, what are you doing now besides coaching? What other sports ventures are you involved with?
Uh, I don't want to gloss over the coaching part. I got some before. I'm general manager and defense
Mm-hmm.
coordinator for the Garden State Herd.
Mm-hmm.
Finished our second season 6-3,
Mm-hmm.
third overall seed in the playoffs. Great young team. Anybody's interested in looking for the Garden State Herd, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, Garden State
Mm-hmm.
Herd. Actively looking to reload for the 2024
Mm-hmm.
season. You would appreciate what we do over there. It's a lot what we used to do with the old Lion days. Only we don't have a maniacal Paulie Castillo roaming the sidelines. And listen,
Yes, I love him.
the Castillos are since Jeff and Paul and the whole
Mm-hmm.
family are great people. But a lot of those same kind of um, morals and work ethic and accountability. We're bringing that to the Garden State Herd. Like my T-shirt that says Kaizen.
Mm-hmm.
Kaizen it means small ongoing changes for positive improvements, and that's our mantra. Little by little, we're getting better and better. We're doing that. We have our guys compete, man. They come into camp. There is no starters. You're coming in to compete. Some guys get cut. Some guys don't like that. Some guys want to just pull up and pay their money and complain about playing time. We tell guys we run camp from November to March. That's where you earn your playing time. Once March the season starts, you kind of
Mm-hmm.
fit in where you can. But
Mm-hmm.
and I'm loving doing that. It's my going into my third season there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and we're trying to build something. Aside from that, I was an absolute maniac and decided at the age of 44 that I was going to take on Brazilian Jiu Jitsu for the first
Mm-hmm.
time. You know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, Founded through a program called Adopt a Cop BJJ. And what they do is that they sponsor police officers to
Mm-hmm.
take jujitsu classes. They'll pay for their tuition until they get
Mm-hmm.
to their blue belt, which the blue belt is the first belt that you can get once you are in jujitsu. So you start off as a white belt, you go through your white belt phase up to blue belt. And that usually takes about 2 years. So this program paid for my tuition for 2 years of me going to jujitsu. So I was going for free and enjoying it. Um, it's great for police officers because we can now use something less lethal than a gun, than
Mm-hmm.
having to beat people with sticks, than having to
Mm-hmm.
choke people, having to put our knees on people's necks and whatever. There's other ways to get compliance, and everybody, good guy, bad guy, whoever, goes home. Um, and then on top of that, I do my still lift, still not power lift as much as I used to, but
Mm-hmm.
because I'm 46 now. But I right before I got on here with you, I just came back from the gym, and I'm realizing every day that I go to the gym, these guys are getting younger and bigger and stronger, and I'm becoming the old man in the gym. That's
Mm-hmm.
why I keep my hair
Mm-hmm.
kind of cut short
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
them grays are coming in. So I try to keep an active lifestyle. And on top of that, with the whole, I'm also a team leader on my SWAT team. So that's a demanding physical job, and I'm one of the older guys on the team, and I've got a bunch of 20, 23-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old guys who are in great shape, young, energetic. So you got to try to keep up with these guys. And then, of course, I've got two teenage daughters who keep me on my feet. So I better be awake and alert. I better be awake and alert because
Uh-huh.
if not, they're going to run circles around me.
Yeah, no, trust me, I've been through that 3 times. So, and plus now
Uh huh.
I got my 8-year granddaughter. So yeah, I get you. I
Uh
get
huh.
you.
And you didn't have it
Now,
easy because you listen, coach, and I mean this respectfully. You have three beautiful daughters,
hmm
and if you at least had one ugly one, it would be a little bit easier because you kind of get a break. But all three of them, you don't got to worry about the ugly one, right? But you got three
mm,
beautiful daughters, man, and watching them grow up, man, I'm like, wow, coach has got problems.
Actually, no, I really didn't, man. I got one grandchild. My daughters are all doing their things. They're respectful. They're law
I hear
abiding.
that.
So
I hear
so
that.
I'm blessed there. So, but
It
now
wasn't. It
with
was. It wasn't. It wasn't the girls I was worried about, coaches. Them little Thundercats that come around.
well. Here's a little secret that I always say, and always, and people look at me like you really would do that, and
I'm
it's
listening.
no.
I'm
I
listening.
always tell my daughter when they were teenagers, I'm like, and they, well, I want to go on a date. Well, you can go ahead and go out on a date. I just want to meet the boy first, right? And be like, okay, but understand, I'm going to be cleaning my gun while I'm doing that. Daddy, no.
I
Oh,
got one better
yeah.
for you. I got one better for you. So my oldest daughter, who's going to be 15 in October, is starting to date and talk to
Mm-hmm.
little boys or whatever. And coach, I am the most nicest guy to these kids.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hey man, how are you? I'm Juan. I know you're just speaking to my daughter Ava. What you guys doing tonight? Oh, Mr. DePena, we're going to the movies. Oh, hey, that's wonderful, man. You guys will take you guys. You guys have money. You guys are great. I'm super nice to them until I shake their hand. And then I shake their hand, I give them that vice grip, and that's to let them know, hey, I'm being nice, but understand that there's another side to me. And surprisingly, it's worked so far.
That's a great tactic, man. I commend you for that one. I wasn't thinking about that one. So I mean, hey, I'm old school. Don't forget, I'm older than you. So
Yeah.
that was the one. That was the one. So I get you. I get you. So, with your sports journey, has it given you more happiness or frustration?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
With your sports journey, has it given you more happiness or frustration?
Um, here's I'm gonna give you a quote, and this kind of sums it up. Jim Harbaugh. You know who Jim Harbaugh is, head coach of the
Mm-hmm.
University of Michigan. When they asked him
Oh
about his
boy.
time, yeah, when they asked him about his time at the University of Michigan, they
Mm-hmm.
asked him what's it been like, and he said, "The days are long and the years are short." You know what I mean? So you
Mm-hmm.
have you have a lot of frustrating days. Hey, my defense didn't do what they were supposed to do today. They didn't do those reads right. They didn't do this right. They were tackling like crap. They were doing this, or oh, they had a great game. They got around that that. They did great. They were like out there like savages or whatever. So that when you think about it on a day-to-day basis, it becomes hit or miss because it
Mm-hmm.
depends on what.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at the long scope of it, and you look at all the great
Mm-hmm.
memories and all the great players that you've coached and all the great games and all the people you've met, I can't be anything but happy with sports, man. It's been a lifesaver. I owe football my life. It's given me everything that I have in my life: my friendships, my discipline, my work ethic. So I can't say anything bad about sports at all.
I understand. I relate to that, and I agree with you. 1,000,000%, man. Sports is giving me a lot too. So I mean, it's like you said, people, friendships, attitudes. All of that. So I respect that. Now, if people or businesses wish to get in contact with you or your organization, how can they reach out to you?
I mean, if you guys want to follow the Garden State Herd, it's Instagram is at Garden State Herd, HERD. We're on Facebook, same way. My name is on Facebook the same way, and my Instagram handle is tactical three underscores rhino, and that's it. I'm not here promoting anything. I'm not selling any fit tees or I don't have a clothing brand. I'm just a normal guy who likes to coach football and
Hmm.
raise his kids and likes to spend his Saturdays at home with his wife. Man, I'm a normal dude who gets to do a lot of extraordinary stuff and is blessed for it.
All right. So now, in closing, is there anything else you would want the audience to know about you?
About me, I think that we talked about it, man.
Okay. Okay.
I'm happily married, 21 years, got three kids. My son just graduated from NJIT, which officially makes him the
Mm,
smartest guy in my house.
mm,
Uh,
mm.
two teenage daughters who are competitively dancing. We're actually leaving tomorrow for Ocean City, Maryland. They're competing in their national tournaments, their national dance competitions for the month. I mean, for the year, and they're competitors too. Believe it or not, man. Even with the dance, they're super competitive. They work out, they train, they do all that, and yeah, man, that's about it. And if you are a 6'4", 6'5", over 300 pound guy who knows how to kick, step, and pull, hit me up, man. I'm looking for offensive linemen all the time, defensive linemen, and
Hmm.
but coach, I've got nothing else, man.
Okay.
I can't thank you enough, man, for so much.
No.
And and listen, man, I remember all those conversations that we had
Hmm.
when I would
Hmm.
come pick you up and we would drive to
Hmm.
games together. And
Hmm.
those words were never in one ear out the other.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
I truly, sincerely thank you, man. And you've been a great friend and mentor to me. And just asking me to be here with you, man. It's been an absolute honor.
Well, I thank you for those kind words. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege, just knowing you and honestly saying that you are a brother. So, and I hope
Yes,
the
sir.
audience gets to see that and feel that and understand who Coach Juan DePena is. So, great guy, hilarious, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you something. He says he roasts his people, his players. Man, anyone can get it. Let me just say that anyone. I still remember the what is it? The 25 days of Christmas with the Lions. I still
No,
remember that.
it was the
Was it the
night before
25?
Christmas.
Oh, the night before Christmas.
The
Yeah.
night before Christmas. So for you guys don't know what he's talking about. Every year, with the New Jersey Lions, I would do a night before Christmas, I guess poem you would call it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
To the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not
Mm-hmm.
even a mouse. I would do that, and I would incorporate a roast of pretty much every single player or personality within
Mm-hmm.
our team. And the guys, if they got included with that, that's the funny part about it. I'm making fun of you, but you felt honored to be included in that thing.
Exactly. Exactly.
We had some good times, man.
Exactly. So, and that's the beauty. That's one of the beauty of sports in general. Forget the field stuff. It's off the field, man. The
Yeah,
brotherhood,
man.
the good times and everything. So, and I hope everyone in the audience gets feels that and understands that, and you get to experience that yourself. One way or another, whether it's in your career or whatever, because we all need that. We really do. So, Coach Juan, I really thank you for your time and this great interview, man. I really, really
Love you, coach.
appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
Love you too. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you feel it and understand. And you know what I always say in sports, make sure you turn it on and turn it up. Everyone be safe. Peace.